You know, we all use calendars to keep our own life straight. But what if your job was to manage the schedules of thousands of people across hundreds of different events? It sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, today we're going to dive into the story of how a really clever calendar API solved this exact problem at a truly massive scale.
So, every good story needs its characters. On one side, we've got Mandy, the organizer. And her goal is, well, it's huge. She needs to send out calendar invites for all 272 NFL games to thousands of fans. Then you've got Greg, the customer. His goal? Super simple. He just wants to get his favorite team's games onto his calendar without any fuss. Two totally different worlds connected by one very smart system.
Let's just focus on this number for a second. 272. That's not just a number. That's 272 separate events, each with its own time, place, and details. I mean, just think about the potential for error there. It's absolutely massive.
So how on earth does Mandy even start to tackle a beast like this? Well, that brings us to the first part of our story, getting the system set up. Let's look at how she gets all 272 of those games loaded in and ready to roll.
The first piece of this magic trick is something called the inbound processor. Now, don't let the techie name throw you. All you have to do is think of it as a magic email address. It's a special API endpoint that Mandy sends all her calendar events to. The processor just grabs each event, takes it apart, and stores all the important bits of data for later.
So what does this actually look like for Mandy? It's a surprisingly simple three-step dance. First, she just loads up all 272 games by sending them from her normal, everyday Google Calendar to that magic address. Easy. Next, she reviews everything in one central console, just to make sure it all looks good. And the best part? If she needs to change something, she just edits the event in her own calendar, and the system automatically saves the update. No new, complicated software to learn at all.
Okay, so that's Mandy's side of the equation. Pretty slick for such a huge job. But what about Greg, our fan? Let's flip the script and look at the customer experience, because that's where this whole thing really comes to life.
Everything for Greg starts with just a single link. Mandy shares a web page that has the entire NFL schedule on it. And that simple page, that's the bridge that connects all of Mandy's behind-the-scenes work to Greg's phone.
And for Greg, it's even easier. He just browses the schedule. Maybe he only cares about the games in Week 16, so he selects those. Then he just pops in his email, clicks one button, and bam, that's it. A few clicks, and those invites are already heading to his inbox.
The engine that's sending out all those invites is our second key component, the outbound processor. So if the inbound processor was all about getting data in, you can guess what this one does. It's all about getting the invites out and doing it intelligently. It sends them, it tracks them, and as we'll see, it even updates them.
Now, this all works perfectly when everything goes to plan. But let's be real, when does that ever happen? Plans always change. So let's throw a wrench in the works. Let's say Mandy has a last-minute promotion she needs to get out to the fans. And this is the question that gives every event organizer nightmares. What do you do when details change after thousands of invites are already sitting quietly in people's calendars? Do you just send a confusing email blast and hope people see it?
Well, Mandy doesn't have to guess. She just goes into her reporting panel. Because the system's been tracking all the responses, she has actual data. She can drill right down to a specific game, say the Giants versus the Vikings, and see exactly how people are responding to that invite. So looking at the data, she decides she wants to boost engagement a little. She adds this awesome promotion directly into the calendar event description. A surprise vendor booth with a free jersey? Yeah, that'll get people's attention. But the question is, how does she tell the right people about it?
And this is where it gets really powerful. The system doesn't just spam everyone with this update. No way. It's smart. It sends the new, updated invitation only to the people who already responded with yes or maybe. It's surgical. It targets the fans who are already engaged and leaves everyone else alone.
So you're probably asking, okay, how does it know who responded? How does all that tracking and targeting actually happen? Great question. Let's pop the hood for just a minute and see how this thing really works.
All right, quick nerd alert. We're about to get a little bit technical here, but I promise it's actually pretty cool, and it's the key to this whole system.
It really all boils down to these three automated steps. First, match. When Greg signs up, the system matches his email address to the unique ID, or UID, of the specific game he picked. Just think of that UID as a unique serial number for that one event. Second, send. The outbound processor sends the invite.
And third, this is the secret sauce: track. When Greg clicks yes, no, or maybe in his calendar app sends a little receipt back to the API. That receipt is what connects his response to his email and the event's unique serial number. That's how Mandy gets all her real-time data.
Okay, nerd alert over. Let's zoom back out. We've seen Mandy handle a massive schedule, and we've seen Greg get a super easy personalized experience. So what's the big picture here? What are the main takeaways?
For anyone organizing anything, the benefits are pretty clear. You can scale your communications like crazy without giving yourself a headache. You can manage everything right from the calendar you already know and use. You get to track real customer responses, yes, no, maybe, which is so much more powerful than an email open rate. And like we saw with the promotion, you can dynamically update events for very specific groups of people. It's incredibly powerful.
So in the end, this is about way more than just sending invites. We all tend to think of our calendars as these static, kind of boring tools just for managing our own time. But what if they could be something more? What if, like we saw today, your calendar could become a dynamic platform for starting a real two-way conversation with your audience at any scale? It's a pretty cool thought.